My fiancé went on a business trip to another city, and I was the one who made the hotel arrangements for him. The following day, I received a call from the hotel reception. "Miss, you left your nightwear in the hotel. Would you like to pick it up yourself, or should we mail it to you?" I was confused and asked, "What nightwear?" They replied, 2 sets of lace nightgowns and 3 pairs of ripped black stockings. At that moment, I was holding a medical diagnosis in my hand, standing in a real estate agency, preparing to sell my house to raise money for a life-saving treatment. Considering the situation, maybe I should give up on the treatment. After all, it's not me who's going to die. "Hello, who is this?" I wiped away my tears and answered the phone. "Who is it?" "Hello, miss. This is Fia Hotel. You left your nightwear in the room. Would you like to pick it up yourself, or should we mail it to you?" Fia Hotel was the one I booked for Nicholas yesterday before he went on his business trip. But I didn't go with him, so how could there be women's nightwear in his room? "Are you sure there's no mistake? Can you tell me the room number and what kind of nightwear it is?" "Room 1202, booked under Mr. Nicholas. The nightwear consists of 2 lace sets and 3 pairs of ripped black stockings. The name and room number were correct. The nightwear was made of materials I never wear. As for the stockings, the fact that they were ripped means they had been used, so they couldn't be something Nicholas bought new to give to me. It was clear. I had been betrayed. Leave them at the front desk. I'll pick them up myself." After saying that, I was momentarily stunned, interrupted by the real estate agent's voice. "Miss Ning, are you still selling this house?" I wiped the ink from my index finger with a tissue and shook my head. This house was a gift from my grandmother for my 18th birthday. A large 200 square meter apartment with a river view, a property I was deeply fond of. Unless absolutely necessary, I would never consider selling it. "Miss Ning, although the market isn't great right now, there are still buyers on our platform willing to pay a high price. I understand that you need this money for life-saving purposes, and I'm willing to help you find the best buyers." The agent spoke while glancing at the medical diagnosis I had forgotten to put away. The large words on it were unmistakable. "Pancreatic cancer, mid-stage." Seeing my dazed expression, the agent added, "You're still young. You can always buy another house later. But life," I smiled at him. "I think you misunderstood. It's not me who's sick." I flattened out the diagnosis, and in the patient's column were 2 words, Nicholas. Yes, Nicholas, my fiancé, has cancer. I only found out yesterday afternoon. Since I had left my information during the checkup, the results were sent to me. It took me 4 or 5 hours to force myself to accept it. Then I spent an entire night thinking about how to tell Nicholas and how to deal with it. In the end, I decided to sell the house my grandmother gave me to raise money to save Nicholas's life. But now that I think about it, it's quite ironic. While I was worried about him, crying so much that I soaked my pillow, he was entangled with another woman. At this point, it is what it is. Since he could keep a mistress without telling me, I can keep his cancer diagnosis from him for a while too. That makes us even. Book a flight and go to the airport. I arrived at the place where Nicholas was on his business trip a little after 6 p.m. It's not that I still had hope for him. I just wanted to see who had such a strong allure that made Nicholas continue despite his illness, tearing 3 pairs of stockings. "I finished the meeting, baby. Heading back to the hotel now. Remember to eat on time. I'll be back tomorrow." Nicholas sent a message with a kiss and a miss you emoji. I replied to him in my usual tone. At that moment, I was already at the hotel entrance, watching Nicholas go in with my own eyes. He was alone, surprisingly. For a brief moment, I felt a sense of relief, thinking perhaps it was all just a misunderstanding. After all, how could a 5-year relationship be betrayed so easily? But just 10 minutes later, Nicholas slapped me in the face with the truth. He came downstairs, clearly having washed his hair and changed into a clean shirt. The girl waiting downstairs eagerly jumped into his arms, even rubbing her face against his chest. Nicholas pushed her away and looked around. He was indeed cautious, but the affectionate look on his face was undeniable. I knew that girl. She was Nicholas's neighbor. Her name was Camilla. I met her when Nicholas first brought me home to meet his parents. Her mother brought her over for dinner, and when she saw me, she was told to call me sister-in-law. Camilla hesitated for a long time, and finally, in a low voice, called me sister. I didn't think much of it, just assuming she was shy on our first meeting. I never imagined that she didn't call me sister-in-law because her relationship with Nicholas was not ordinary. She just didn't want to acknowledge me as her sister-in-law. I followed them, suppressing my nausea and anger. The two were so engrossed in their affection that they didn't even notice if anyone was following them. They had a meal and then headed straight into a private cinema. Before going in, Camilla stood on her tiptoes and whispered something in Nicholas's ear. Then they both shared a knowing smile. Unfortunately, I was too far away to hear what they said. But I knew what they were about to do next. So, after they entered the room, I followed them in. The store was being watched by a young man in his 20s. I gave him some money, and in return, he let me view the surveillance footage. Nicholas and Camilla were sitting on the sofa, slightly tipsy from drinking. Nicholas, were you satisfied last night? Of course. Nicholas pulled Camilla closer, and she began to undress. Under her trench coat, she was wearing a set of lace lingerie. Nicholas's hand caressed her. Mila, it's been so many years, and you've really gotten better at this. Just as they were about to kiss, I dialed Nicholas's number. He flinched in surprise, but didn't dare to hang up. At that moment, Camilla snatched his phone. Too scared to answer? Want to make it more exciting? Before Nicholas could stop her, Camilla answered the call. I saw through the surveillance that he held the phone far away, pretending the signal was bad. Meanwhile, Camilla straddled him, starting to kiss him, unbuttoning his shirt, and undoing his belt. The two of them were glued together, and even with the trench coat covering them, their movements were obvious. Nicholas, what are you doing? For some reason, after the extreme anger, I became very calm. There was no emotion in my voice on the phone. Serena, what are you saying? The signal here is so bad. Though Nicholas tried hard to control it, his voice still carried a slight uncontrollable tremor. Camilla hadn't stopped, seemingly knowing exactly what men like, what they enjoy the most. And after hearing Nicholas talking to me, her actions became even bolder and faster. Then Nicholas started calling my name. Serena, Serena. His voice grew more urgent, and finally, he hung up the phone and threw it away. Both his hands held Camilla tightly in his arms, as if trying to merge into one. Then came a long, satisfied sigh. Disgusting. Wait here, I'll go return Serena's call. Nicholas got up and was about to leave. As I wondered where I should hide, Camilla grabbed him. Don't go. Didn't you say you're already tired of her? Why do you still care so much? My fists clenched involuntarily, but I was also curious about how Nicholas would respond. He sat back down on the sofa. Yes, I am tired of her. She's rich, she's beautiful, and everyone around me says that getting her was a blessing from several lifetimes of good fortune. But do you know, Mila? It's precisely because she's so perfect that I always feel inferior in front of her. But damn it, I'm a man. What man doesn't want the admiration of the woman he loves? He took a sip of his drink after speaking, and Camilla leaned on his shoulder. Come on, you've always been the best student in our area, and now you're successful in your career. No matter what others say, in my heart, Nicholas will always be the best. So, to Nicholas, I was someone high above, someone who made him feel inferior. It turns out the saying is true. Men love the support of a smart woman, but they also crave the adoration of a woman from humble beginnings. At this moment, I could easily storm in and expose them, tell them that from now on, we'd go our separate ways. But I feel that this approach is just too lenient on them. When Nicholas returned from his business trip, I was sitting in the living room, lost in thought. I'm back. Did you miss me? After changing his shoes, the first thing he did was try to hug me, but I avoided him. Now, every time I see his face, I remember the scene of him with Camilla in the private cinema. It makes me feel nauseous. Are you upset because we didn't talk much yesterday due to the bad signal? Don't worry, I brought you a gift. Nicholas took out a necklace he bought for me. He put it on me himself, but the lingering smell on his cuff assaulted my nose. Another wave of nausea hit me. Yet, I still pretended to be happy, because now is not the time to retaliate. I need to wait for the right moment. The next moment, Nicholas scratched his head and gave me a smile. Serena, have you been in touch with Roman recently? Could you invite him out for a meal? Roman was my childhood friend, the kind you've known since you were in diapers. Over the years, while I stayed loyal to Nicholas, Roman kept himself busy, changing girlfriends almost every quarter. But this year, he seemed to have settled down a bit. His new girlfriend had been around for 3 whole quarters, which was quite an improvement. I never mocked him for being a playboy, though he often teased me for sticking to the same flavor for so long. Once he even said that Nicholas and I were like a frog trying to climb up to a swan who willingly accepted it. Nicholas heard that comment, and already disliking Roman, became even more hostile towards him. So for Nicholas to bring up Roman and suggest inviting him to dinner, I was genuinely surprised. Yes, the vice president of the Goo Group, your childhood friend Roman. Nicholas continued, I need to ask him for a favor. So that's what this is about. Tell me. Well, here's the thing. I have a friend from my hometown who just graduated this year. The job market is tough, and she only has an associate degree, so she's had a hard time finding work. But she's very motivated, and her field of study happens to align with the business at Goo Group, so I was hoping my baby could help out and introduce her. Nicholas has always been a bit proud. When I secretly arranged a job for him, he was upset for days, feeling I had hurt his pride. Now he's asking me for help for someone else, which means this person must be very important to him. Who is it? I asked. Camila. My eyes brightened as if I had just spotted prey about to walk right into a trap. Of course. I didn't expect to run into Camila so soon. To thank me for agreeing to introduce her, she suggested taking Nicholas and me out for dinner. At the table sat the 3 of us, Nicholas, Camila, and me. Each of us had our own thoughts, yet we all pretended as if nothing had happened. Serena, thank you so much for agreeing to help. I'd like to propose a toast to you. Camila raised her glass. I looked at this girl, who had just turned 19. She was 10 years younger than Nicholas, and anyone would think they were just a simple pair of siblings from the same village. But the truth was that their relationship was more disgusting than anyone could imagine. I linked my arm with Nicholas's. Nick, I can't drink. What should I do? Nicholas was momentarily stunned, but then smiled and patted my head. It's okay, I'll drink for you. Thank you, Nick. You're the best. Maybe to ease my suspicions, after I said this, Nicholas even leaned in and kissed my cheek. But Camila's expression across the table was no longer as composed as it was at the beginning. That still slightly childish face visibly showed a trace of anger. She quickly downed several more glasses. You two seem so close, unlike me, struggling out there all alone. I really hope one day I can have a boyfriend like Nicholas who can openly treat me well. Not like now, hiding like a rat in the gutter, only able to sneak glimpses at other people's happiness. The meaning behind her words was quite clear, which made Nicholas panic a bit as he tried to stop her. Mila, you've had too much to drink. But Camila seemed determined, drinking one glass after another until she was completely drunk. I arranged for someone to take her back to the hotel while I drove Nicholas home. His phone was with me, so when a call came in halfway, I answered it. Nicholas, where are you? I've had too much to drink. I just heard someone knocking on the door, and I'm so scared. Camila's sobbing voice came through the phone. Nicholas, sitting in the passenger seat, visibly tensed up. What's wrong, Mila? I'm here. He reached out to take the phone, but I pretended my hand was shaky, letting the phone slip to the driver's side door. The speaker was on, and her voice kept coming through. Nicholas, are you really going to abandon me? Why did you shield her from drinking today? Were you doing it on purpose to show me? I'm so hurt, you know. Nicholas panicked, glancing at me cautiously. She's just drunk and talking nonsense, Serena. Hang up the phone, please. You said it yourself. It's just nonsense. Don't worry, I won't take it to heart. But the voice on the other end continued. Stop pretending to be so generous. If you're so confident, don't let Nicholas protect you from drinking. Nicholas leaned over, trying to grab the phone, shouting, Camila, you've had too much to drink. She's your sister-in-law. Of course I should protect her from drinking. Don't say things that could cause misunderstandings. But there was no sign that the person on the other end was going to stop. Nicholas's attempts to grab the phone became more frantic, with almost half of his body leaning over to the driver's side. With his interference, I could no longer hold onto the steering wheel. The car's trajectory twisted out of control. With a loud bang, we crashed into the truck ahead. When I woke up, I was already in the hospital. Nicholas sat by the bedside, looking utterly defeated. Seeing me open my eyes, he dropped to his knees with a thud. "I'm sorry, Serena. It's all my fault. I caused the death of our child. You can hit me, curse me." The child was gone. Yes, I had known I was pregnant for a month. I had wanted to tell Nicholas then, but he was frequently traveling for work during that time, and I couldn't find the right moment. Later, I discovered Nicholas was cheating on me. At that point, I even considered giving up the baby. But in the end, I decided to keep it. I wanted to give all my love to the child. I had even planned out how I would raise her. I would shower her with money and love, take her to eat the best food, play in the best places, and she would only need to grow up freely and live a carefree life. But that opportunity was gone. "Please stop crying, okay? It's all my fault. It's all because of me." Nicholas started slapping himself. I stared blankly at the ceiling, and after he had hit himself over 10 times, I reached out and stopped him. He grasped my hand and shouted towards the door. "Get in here now!" Camilla dragged herself in, her head hung low the entire time. "Serena, last night I was drunk, and everything I said was just drunken nonsense. I've been single for so many years, and seeing how in love you two are, it upset me, so I said those things. I'm sorry, but please believe me, Nicholas and I, we're just neighbors who grew up together." Nicholas echoed her. "Serena, please believe me." I looked at the two of them. Lying through their teeth was something they had mastered, and there was no doubt that they were responsible for the death of my child, but I still smiled faintly. "I never doubted you." Hearing this, the two of them sighed in relief, and Nicholas quickly asked, "Then Mila, can she still work at Roman's company?" "Of course." I fell into a deep sleep, and I had a dream. I dreamed of Nicholas from a few years ago. Back then, he had failed his postgraduate exams and struggled to find a job. But he never complained to me about these hardships. Instead, he told me with great determination, "I will work hard, hard enough to be worthy of my Serena." When he received his first paycheck, he bought me a Coach bag. When he gave it to me, he had an embarrassed look on his face. "I can't afford the brands you usually carry right now, but trust me, someday I will. Serena, in the future, all my money will be yours, and so will my heart." Later, I couldn't bear to see him struggle, so I arranged for him to work at my family's company. I even assigned him several projects. Now he's capable of handling things on his own, but his heart isn't the same as before. I slept for a long time, and throughout my sleep, there was a constant dull pain in my heart. It was filled with guilt for the unborn child and regret for the 5-year relationship. When I woke up in a daze, I saw Nicholas and Camilla sitting together at the foot of the bed. They were sneaking a kiss. I didn't make a sound. I just silently made up my mind. The child is too lonely down there and needs his father to keep him company, and Camilla is too unruly in this world and needs someone to teach her properly. After we returned from the hospital, Nicholas began to frequently complain of back pain and experienced rapid weight loss. But his mood was quite good. The reason was simple. Camilla was thriving at Roman's company. Perhaps because I had helped her a lot in that regard, Nicholas started to take extra care of me. He made chicken soup for me every day, washed and dried my hair. He prepared all 3 meals and served them at the table. He even pulled me close and reminisced about the early days of our relationship. Sometimes I would have a moment of illusion, as if we had returned to the beginning, as if there had never been a third person between us, as if we had never lost a child because of him. But I knew there was no going back. Roman, who had always been at odds with Nicholas, started calling him frequently. He wanted to discuss Camilla. At first, he asked about her personality and social skills. Then he inquired about her preferences, birthday, and family background. And then he told Nicholas, "I'm quite impressed with Camilla. I'm thinking of promoting her to be my personal assistant." After hanging up the phone, Nicholas was visibly distracted, forcing a smile on his face. "Serena, your childhood friend isn't interested in Mila, is he?" "Are you jealous?" "No, not at all," Nicholas vehemently denied it. "I just think since Mila is from my hometown, if she's looking for someone, I should definitely keep an eye on things for her." "If you're so concerned, why not just be her boyfriend yourself?" "Serena, I've told you there's nothing between us. Do you really need to say something like that?" Do you think just because you lost a child, I have to spoil you forever? Nicholas finally couldn't keep up the pretense. Ever since I was discharged from the hospital, I had used the excuse of poor health to keep him at home. At first, he took good care of me. But as the days passed without seeing Camilla, and now with the prospect of Roman taking her away, he couldn't sit still any longer. Forget it. I haven't been feeling well lately, so I'll head to the hospital. Nicholas stormed out of the house. I drove after him as he left. I realized he didn't go to the hospital. Instead, he took a turn and went to see Camilla. They entered a private room at a restaurant. I sat in the room next door, and soon after, I heard them arguing. Are you getting involved with that Roman? Do you even know his background? Do you think you can climb that high? So what? You're allowed to climb up the social ladder, but I'm not? You haven't even seen me for over a month. How am I supposed to know if you still want me? Serena is already suspicious. If she finds out, who knows if you'll even be able to keep your job? Hearing Nicholas say this, Camilla's attitude softened. All right, I know you're just looking out for me. Don't worry, there's nothing between Roman and me. But don't you dare sleep with that old woman, understand? I'm not that desperate, she just lost a child. I find it disgusting. My fists clenched involuntarily. I had been patient for so long, and now it was time to bring out the gift I had prepared for both of them. At the end of the month, it was Nicholas's birthday. As was customary, his parents would come to the city to have dinner with him. But this year, in addition to his parents, a few other people from his hometown were coming. Apparently, they had heard that Nicholas had helped Camilla get a job, so they wanted to ask for his help too. So I suggested that we throw a birthday party at the best hotel in the city. Nicholas thought this was my way of making amends after our last argument and was quite pleased with the idea. On the day of the party, many people showed up. Nicholas and Camilla's parents were seated, listening to the flattering words from their fellow villagers, smiling from ear to ear. Nicholas is such a good kid, never forgets his roots. He's made something of himself and still helps the younger ones from his hometown find jobs. He's always been responsible since he was young. Serena, you're lucky to marry such a capable man. But what about Mila? Nicholas helped her first. No wonder this girl has always followed Nicholas around, saying she'd marry him when she grew up. Nicholas leaned over and whispered to me not to take it seriously. Then he turned and exchanged a flirty smile with Camilla. How ridiculous. A dirty cucumber. Who would want it? Halfway through the banquet, Roman arrived. Dressed in a sharp suit with his naturally handsome features, he drew everyone's attention. Mr. Gu, what brings you here? Camilla, who had been exchanging glances with Nicholas, quickly stood up to greet him. She even pulled out the chair next to her, inviting Roman to sit beside her. She served him food and poured him wine, overly attentive. Seeing Camilla and Roman's close behavior, the people around couldn't help but tease. Mila, is this your boss? He's got the presence of a movie star. Yes, Mr. Gu. You're still single, right? Mila, you should make an effort. You know, they do look good together. Roman just smiled, but Camilla, blushing, served him another dish. As she did, she leaned in close to Roman. I glanced at Nicholas, whose dissatisfaction was nearly visible, but he couldn't afford to show it, so he had to suppress it. After a brief round of small talk, Roman turned the attention to me. Serena, today is Nicholas's birthday, and I heard you've prepared a special gift for him. Why don't you show it to everyone? All eyes turned to me. I took the box from the waiter, but didn't open it right away. Instead, I put on the white gloves I had prepared. Wow, she's even putting on gloves to open it. It must be something really valuable. Maybe a gemstone? There was a murmur of excitement in the crowd, and Nicholas smiled sheepishly. Baby, having this party already makes me happy. There's no need to give me such an expensive gift. Camilla squeezed in. Serena, it's not about how expensive the gift is. It's the thought that counts. I smiled slightly. Of course it's thoughtful, because this gift is something you and I prepared together. Me? Amidst Camilla and everyone's confusion, I slowly opened the box. Everyone leaned in curiously to see. Then they watched as I pulled out a pair of ripped black stockings from the box. One pair, then another. A total of 3 pairs and 2 sets of lace lingerie. Serena! Nicholas and Camilla spoke at the same time, their previously smug expressions now replaced with flushed faces. Some who didn't understand the situation whispered to me, "Serena, maybe you should give these things in private. There's nothing wrong with it because..." I turned to Nicholas and Camilla. These are things the two of them used together. The room erupted into chaos, and Nicholas grabbed my wrist. "Serena, let's talk about this later, okay? Please." He spoke in a low voice, but his grip tightened, a silent threat. At that moment, Roman stepped forward and pulled Nicholas away. "Did you really think you and Serena could still go back to how things were?" He looked at me, then at the box. "Hurry up! We've got people waiting to go for a late-night snack." I smiled knowingly, grabbed a stack of photos from the bottom of the box, and tossed them into the air. Photos of Nicholas and Camilla kissing, holding each other in the private cinema, and their filthy chat logs fluttered down like snowflakes in the banquet hall. Everyone scrambled to pick them up, but the dignity and shame of those two could never be retrieved. How shameless! We thought Nicholas was such a good guy, but it turns out they were having an affair. What a disgrace! They're an embarrassment to our village. We should never have come today. It's so unlucky. Nicholas and Camilla, along with their parents, hung their heads under the barrage of insults. Nicholas clutched his stomach, cold sweat forming on his forehead. "Oh, stop pretending. I bet you used that to latch onto a wealthy girl. And you weren't even satisfied with that? You had to cheat? Let's go home." The villagers left in disgust. Roman took my arm to lead me out as well. By then, Nicholas was curled up on the ground in pain, calling out to me, but I didn't look back. He called out to Camilla, but she ran after Roman. Mr. Gu, please, let me explain." Roman turned, extending his hand to keep her at a distance. "Camilla, didn't you just ask me why I came? Well, now I'll tell you. I'm here to fire you. Don't bother coming to work tomorrow." With that, Roman led me away. Behind us, Nicholas's wails and the sound of their parents arguing echoed. One side blamed the girl for being indecent, seducing their son, and ruining his future. The other blamed the boy for being useless, trying to be a gold digger, and still messing around with other women. It was all rather embarrassing. But luckily it had nothing to do with me anymore. Roman's car was parked right outside. I got in and sat in the back, and a cold beer was handed to me from the passenger seat. "Congratulations, bestie, on regaining your freedom." It was my best friend, the one who had been dating Roman for 3 quarters. The next morning, my best friend dragged me out of bed. Get up, or you'll miss the flight." She had booked tickets and planned to take me abroad for a few days of fun. She even packed my luggage. She also handed me a new SIM card. "He'll definitely try to contact you, so don't let him ruin your mood." And so I spent half a month having a blast with her abroad. It was fun, but I couldn't stand how she'd spend every night on the phone with Roman, being all lovey-dovey. When I got back and switched to my original SIM card, my phone buzzed continuously for over 10 minutes. All of them were notifications, messages from Nicholas. "Serena, please listen to me. Nothing happened between me and her in the private cinema. She was drunk and insisted on sitting on my lap. That's all. Those awful things I said weren't intentional. I was just confused for a moment. I'm sorry. The diagnosis came back today. It's pancreatic cancer. Serena, I'm dying. Please, can you see me one last time? I'm begging you." Before I could finish reading the messages, Nicholas's call came through. "You finally picked up. Can we meet?" No. After hanging up the phone, I returned to the villa where Nicholas and I used to live together. I had already hired someone to pack up the things inside. All that was left was a photo of Nicholas and me sitting alone on the cabinet. This photo was taken during our 3rd anniversary together in the deserts of the Northwest. With the setting sun in the background, 2 young and naive people leaned against each other, laughing happily. I still remember Nicholas holding me and saying, "Serena, you're my oasis in the desert. My vitality comes from you." Looking at this photo now, it only felt painfully ironic. "You're looking at the photo. You still can't let go, can you?" The sudden voice startled me. When I turned around, it was Nicholas. After not seeing him for half a month, he looked like a different person. His face was pale, his body gaunt. "There's nothing I can't let go of." I placed the photo back on the cabinet. "But shouldn't you knock before entering someone else's house?" Nicholas pressed his lips together. "Serena, I'm in this state now. Do you really have to treat me like this? Your condition isn't my doing. I told you to go to the hospital, but you said you were fine and just needed a few days of rest. In the end, when you finally decided to go to the hospital, you took a detour to see Camila. Do you remember what you said to her that time? Shall I help you recall? I took a deep breath. I'm not going to sleep with that old woman. She just lost a child. It disgusts me. Seeing her face, I have no interest. Stop! Stop! Nicholas shouted, trying to stop me. He leaned against the wall as if any more agitation would cause him to collapse. But I didn't care and continued. So, Nicholas, you don't deserve forgiveness. You should go find Camila, shouldn't you? After all, I've stepped aside and given my blessing to your true love. Nicholas's dazed expression was tinged with irony. He wanted to keep begging me for another chance. Fortunately, his parents arrived and took him back to the hospital. Before leaving, he took the photo from the cabinet. Nicholas's messages still came every day. I didn't block him, but I also didn't reply. Now I'm busy every day, taking back control of the company affairs that I had previously entrusted to Nicholas. One night, a little after 10 p.m., I left the office feeling hungry. I decided to go to a small tavern I hadn't visited in a long time for a bite to eat, and I let my driver go home. After eating, as I walked out, I had the distinct feeling that someone was following me. And sure enough, as I reached the mouth of an alley, someone lunged at me from behind. Luckily, I was quick and managed to dodge and grab the person's arm. Looking closer, I realized it was Camila. Serena, you wretched woman! You've ruined Nicholas's and my future. Now I'm branded as a homewrecker and Nicholas is dying in the hospital while you're living the high life. Why? She was almost screaming. I looked at her calmly. Why? Because I have a clear conscience, unlike the two of you who are disgusting. Spare me the morality speech. Your principals won't put food on the table. Serena, give me $500,000 as compensation, or today I'll drag you down with me. I've got nothing to lose, but you're a rich girl. If you die, it's you who loses. Camila pulled out a knife, the blade glinting under the streetlights. Just as she was about to attack, someone rushed in and grabbed her. When I first noticed someone following me, I had messaged my best friend. Thankfully, she arrived just in time. Camila was detained. Nicholas started calling me frantically, begging me to come to the hospital. I figured he still cared about Camila. Otherwise, why would he be so desperate to see me? Just to seek justice for Camila? But when I saw him, the first thing he said was, "Are you still mad? Can you stay with me now?" His words made me want to laugh. Nicholas, did you really think I was just mad at you? The truth is, you're not worth it anymore. You don't stir any emotions in me. To me, you're just an ordinary passerby. I turned to leave, but Nicholas struggled to his feet and grabbed my hand. Then think of it as me begging you. I'm begging you to stay with me for the last stretch. I don't want to die alone. His eyes were red. A terminally ill patient. A patient I had shared a 5-year relationship with, now on the brink of death, begging me to accompany him on his final journey. To say I wasn't moved would be a lie, but then I thought of my child, of him saying that he found me disgusting because I had lost a child. I violently shook off his hand. Your fate has nothing to do with me. I completely deleted and blocked Nicholas's contact information. When he couldn't reach me, he started calling from different numbers. I blocked each one as it came. Later, his mother sent me a few messages. She said that Nicholas often sat staring out the window, clutching the photo of the two of us in the desert. Whenever the pain became unbearable, he would grip that photo frame tightly, silently staring at the picture of us laughing, lost in thought. Since Camila's release, she had only visited the hospital a few times, not to care for Nicholas, but to blame him for ruining her life. The two of them are now at each other's throats, with Nicholas becoming agitated whenever he sees her, threatening to strangle her. She also said that Nicholas frequently dreamed of me and the child, imagining teaching the child to say "mommy" and "daddy." He often dreams of our past together, murmuring my name in his sleep. Camila has not returned to the hospital or gone back to her hometown. Her scandalous behavior became widely known, leaving her parents disgraced and scorned by their village. In their anger, her parents withdrew all the money Camila had saved over the years and used it to send her younger sister abroad for school. Camilla, now destitute, spends her days threatening suicide and quarreling with her parents. Her mental state seems increasingly unstable. I closed my phone and blocked Nicholas's mother's contact as well, because nothing about Nicholas concerns me anymore. At the end of the month, I attended a wedding. Roman and my best friends. The two of them were just as inseparable as before. Their vows were more touching than ever. Everyone said that Roman, the notorious playboy, had finally settled down. But I knew that they were evenly matched and truly loved each other. I was happy for them. When it came time to toss the bouquet, my best friend deliberately aimed it in my direction, but I made sure to step aside. I looked up at the sky outside. Spring had arrived, and flowers were blooming all along the way. I just wanted to walk this path steadily and securely. Anything else was just decoration, and for me, it was no longer necessary.